Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, from tomorrow, there's going to be a double chance to summon on your Sacred Shards. I thought I'd do a remake of a video I did like 4 months ago, where I go in and I rate every legendary champion in the game. These are quite taxing, but it's going to be literally like a 15-second, what do I think of that legendary, because a lot of you are going to be getting some gold over this weekend. I will be pulling shards for the community if you want to come and check that out and have some fun with us on Twitch. Hell Hades TV, it will be linked below. But yeah, let's get into this. So yeah, double rates. Don't start summoning until you see... until you see the portal light up tomorrow. This is something you should also be aware of, guys. I've said it on my social medias. I'm on Facebook. I'm on community pages. I'm on Discord. They're all linked below. But make sure you're not missing out on these free gifts. And they're not obvious, actually. When you see that pop up there, it doesn't say free. And most people that don't buy in this game are probably missing out on this stuff because you don't get yourself into the shop. But look, claim free gift. There's been 3 of these so far. Keep checking. I guess what they're trying to do is make you check packs, which is quite clever, actually. They're trying to make you check packs to see if anything's free. So quite a clever move from them. But also, it's free stuff. So do make sure you pick those up. Right then, let's do this. So we're going to go through faction by faction, all legendaries rated in this video. Good luck if you pull shards and try and get some of these. Let's do it. Lord Chamfer actually was recently buffed and not terrible, like a mid-tier legendary. Since we've realised that decreased attack AoE is actually a pretty good skill, I'd say his ability's kind of risen up for something like Spider, if you're trying to avoid taking the poisons. Something like Dragon as well, if you're trying to avoid the burns and the debuffs. He's got shields, he's got decreased attack. He's actually a solid champion, like mid-tier. So Thalia, actually a really good champion. Great arena champion, great in dungeons, great in faction wars. She's got this, removes all debuffs from a target ally, then puts block debuffs on that person for 2 turns. Really cool for Spider. Also heals the rest of your team at the same time. She's also got this one here, which is kind of like a Madame Cerise type ability. She removes all buffs from all enemies, then decreases their turn meter and fills your turn meter. Decreases turn meter by more if there's more buffs. So pretty much, if you're going up against an arena team, what you're doing is you're clearing their buffs off and you're giving your team the initiative to go faster. Actually, really, really strong ability, this. People underestimate it. And her stats are massive. Really good champ. Guide coming soon on this one. Killian the Lucky. I tell you what, people don't rate him. He's actually pretty good, pretty mid-tier. Again, really good base stats. He's got great control. Probably the best banner lord in faction wars. He's got decreased speed. He's got block cooldown steals, and he's got stuns. He's got a kind of weird passive, which is random. He's good for dungeons, but he's mainly strong for faction wars. He's actually a good champ. Black Knight, pretty hard-hitting HP champion. He's got increased defense for your team and some heals. He's got an AoE on his A3, which can do a decent amount of damage if he's low health. And he's got a passive that makes him unkillable for a turn if he takes a chunk of damage. In the current arena meta, he's actually upscaled a bit, as long as you're not facing like a block revived type champion. Or basically because Rotus is out of the meta, he can come back in. That's the main point. So actually, okay champion, not the best. Minaya, good base multipliers. I'd say she's, again, like a mid-tier legendary. She does some healing and a good amount of healing as well. She's got some shields going on. You wouldn't be upset if you pulled her. I don't see many people use her outside of faction wars, though. Lugan is a hard-hitting healer. One of the best healers in the game. But healers don't have a massive place in the game. So he has got heal on his A1. He's got ally protection and increased defense on his A2. Another really strong faction war champion. Okay in the arena, okay in clan boss, good in dungeons. Septimus, one of the hardest hitting champions in the game. Maybe the hardest in terms of like, he does this max enemy HP attack with attack as well. In terms of Spider, I've seen him one-shot the Spider with crazy amounts of damage. He's also really good in unkillable teams for clan boss. Really strong legendary. Someone I want, someone I don't have. Wished off the bold. Throws out a ton of poisons. Pairs really well with like a Xavier or an Elenaril. We're hoping that he's got some good utility for something like a Doom Tower. At the moment, he sits as a kind of mid to low tier legendary, but not because, just because he's got kind of pretty weak defense. He doesn't really have that much of a place in the game other than setting up poison nukers. And even that's on a 3/10 cooldown. It's not too bad, actually. Yeah, but a bit of a niche champion. Raglin, one of the best arena champs in the game, maybe the best, now that Rotus is a bit out of the mix. She's got a 2-turn revive with full turn meter. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. Pair her with that new Annie, who, when she gets revived, just nukes the person that killed her, and I think you've got a pretty decent team there. Also heals and removes all debuffs on a 4-turn cooldown, and some turn meter fill here as well. She is absolutely insane for the arena. Very cool for Spider. Very cool for dungeons in general, actually. She can play in some clan boss teams, but it has to be kind of geared around the fact that she's going to be speeding people up, and you might change your kind of rotation of sets. Really cool for faction wars as well. Obviously, Void, one of the best. Baron, a bit underwhelming for a Void legendary, but okay. He's got some good damage. His kit is all reliant on unlocking a Sky Piercer, which you can't unlock. For me, needs a buff. Pretty weak compared to most. So, let's move on. High Elves. High Elves, Elenaril, only good if you're kind of pairing her with like Taurus and she's going to nuke stuff. Otherwise, she sits in your vault. Shiramani, really strong hitter. Surprisingly strong hitter for a support champion. Great for the arena right now. She's got an AoE freeze, which can be 100% if you book her. She also does turn meter fill on the same move, and it hits hard. Really strong ability. Freeze on her A1 as well. Heals on her A2. Insane for faction wars. Great for the arena. Also great for Spider, actually. Basilius, it's just a bit weak. Like, his hits are a bit weak. He's got good stunnage here, which is rare in any champion. He's got some good debuffs, but yeah, he just doesn't hit very hard. Lysandra, awesome speed champion. Speed aura, speed manipulator, best speed manipulator in the game. Great for the arena. Blocks people out. Great for Spider, great for Fire Knights. Really good champ. Raw Huntsman, one shot, Mr. One Shot. He's got 100% ignore defense here. He's literally an arena champion that can one-shot someone. He does have an AoE decreased defense as well. So for faction wars, he's actually pretty strong. But his base stats in defense let him down. So if he doesn't one-shot the person that can kill you, he's dead. Okay, so Yannicka. Yannicka, like, she hits hard. She is a good one to build up for the arena to go against teams that are running red affinity, force affinity champions. And there's quite a lot of those in the current meta because the current meta sets up to defend against magic affinity champions because that's where most of the nukers are. Trunders, Foleys, used to be Rotors as well. So because there's so many of those, Yannicka actually steps in to deal with those defenses really well. She removes shields. If she's under a veil, she can get herself under a veil and get another turn. And she's got good base stats, and she hits pretty damn hard. So, against a lot of arena defense teams, she does a good job. She's got a leech as well, so she can be running in like clan boss setups if you want to. She's not the best there. But generally, like, good. I'd say mainly good in the arena. Mainly good for the arena. Ethos smacks everything down. One of the hardest hitters in the game. AoE. I know, single target. He's my campaign farmer, does it in like 6 seconds. He's also smacking his way through all of the keeps, all of the dungeons, really strong. Bellinor, he had a buff recently. I think he still sits just outside the meta. He's pretty good in an unkillable team because he puts out decreased defense and weaken. I've not had a lot of play time with him, but I think he still needs a bit of work. Arbiter, we all know Arbiter, absolutely insane legendary in just about any arena team that's out there. If you've got her, increase speed, revive, increase speed, get rid of a debuff, really strong legendary. Okay, let's move on. Sacred Order. So we've got Roshkard the Tower, mainly used for unkillable teams, and he's not the best for it. Man-Eater, easily better than this guy in terms of setting up unkillables. He can hit pretty hard. He's good in the arena as well. He does have this block damage ability, which is cool. But I don't really know. If you've got him and you don't have many legendaries, he's in every team you got because This gives you a load of freedom, a load of time to get your work done. But once it's on cooldown, I don't think he brings that much more. Errol, very hard hitter, very squishy. He kind of one-shots somebody with either his A2 or his A3, and he does it quite easily with good stats. And he doesn't need full crit rate. So you can literally build him up to 70% crit rate, and he's nuking everything, which is very cool, but he's very hard to keep alive. So it's hard to know where you play him. You play him in the arena, he one-shots someone, and then he's on his butt. So, don't know. Abess recently buffed, and it was a good buff. 100% now decreased defense. She's now a solid champion. She hits hard on her A3 as well. Really good arena champion. Really good dungeon champion. Marta, still insanely good. Insanely good, but she's not what she used to be in terms of like the best anywhere. She's good everywhere, but not the best anywhere. She used to be the go-to kind of clan boss champion. Now unkillables are way better. She does have provoke and decrease attack. She does have counter attack. She's still amazingly good. And for most people, if you get her, she'll be in every team you got. But she's not in any of my teams apart from Faction Wars now. Cupidus, if you got Venus as well, he hits like a truck. He's still solid anyway. Good spider champion. Good Fire Knight. He's in my main Fire Knight team, even with all the champs I've got. Pretty good arena champion as well. It does have an AoE A1, brings a couple of burns, and yeah, pretty solid champion. Good base stats, but again, really low base defense. So Nick, nuker, one of the best HP nukers in the game, if not the best. Brings massive shields as well. Huge spider champion. It'll get you through spider single-handedly. Also can be run as unkillables, but they're more difficult to do. Very strong base stats. Really, really good champ. Venus, like a jack of all trades, and master of some, I'd say. AoE, decrease defense and weaken, like as solid as it gets in terms of an ability, 100%. She's got HP burn as well. Brilliant for spider, brilliant for damage. She is stronger when Cupidus is on the same team. Good base stats, a little bit low on defense, but generally good champion. Okay, let's move on to Barbarians. Ultan, one of my favourite champs in the game just because he's so cool. He hits so hard. Like, he's in my my normal clan boss team, not an unkillable team. He's doing more damage than poisoners do. He's got a decreased attack on his A1 as well. Smack on his A2 with an increased defense and a shield if you kill someone. He also revives people if you kill them. So for Faction Wars, he's like top tier. Defensive champion, easy to keep alive. Good base speed and HP as well. He's a really, really strong champ. Defense in all battles aura, one of the best. Yeah, awesome champion. Silt, she's one of the free champions that you get through logins. She is top tier. Really, really amazing. Great defense, great HP. AoE stuns on her A2. She's got decreased speed on her A1, ally protection, and a revive. And some heals going on as well. She is top tier. Like anywhere. Spider, brilliant. Fire Knight, brilliant. Dragon, brilliant. Ice Golem, good. Faction Wars, insane. Still pretty good for Clan Boss, even though these moves don't do anything because of the revive and the heal. So, yeah, pretty much like across the board, she's a good, solid champion. Kantra, one of the recent fusions. Massive base defense. One of the best spider tanks in the game. Loads of debuff dropping on her A2. She heals off of debuffs falling off of people. Good champion again. Hard hitter as well. Elder Scarred, bit of a weird champion this one, but kind of cool for the arena. He's been made a lot better since he now does an AoE, HP burn, and True Fear. Makes him a very, very good spiderling nuker. He's got self-buffing on A1. He's got all sorts of increased defense. He's got like loads of mechanics. You need to read through his kits. But basically, if he's up against legendaries, he takes less damage. He's got a really low base defense, which makes him hard to keep alive. But his kit's now actually really solid. Falk, the single, apart from Maneater maybe, the single best clan boss champion in the game. Her shield means you can stay alive for ages. You do need to book it. Massive base defense again. These barbarians have got crazy defense, crazy speed, crazy HP. All of her stats are good. She's also insane in the arena because her passive means that if someone else places buffs, she drops their turn meter. So she gives you a fake way of going first in the arena. Very cool. Turvold, one of the hardest hitters in the game. Hard to set up, low base defense, but he smacks hard. I'd love to get him. Really cool legendary. Serga, one of the recent additions. She looks sick. Yeah, good champion again. One of the best defensive base champions in the game. Lots of protection, damage. Actually, pretty solid champion right the way through. Okay, let's move on to Ogryn Tribes. Biggin. Biggin is just a smacker. He can get through nightmare campaigns like by himself. One of the few attack base that can. Everything's AoE with him. He's got stuns as well. Decreased speed. Really good in the arena. Great for dungeon carrying. Low base defense. You've got to keep him alive. But as long as he's moving quick, he just wrecks everything himself. War Mother, still a bit of a meme of a champion. She brings decreased attack, but who cares really? Bombs. Bomb meta's kind of weak right now. I guess if you've got a bunch of bomb champions and you can speed tune them right, it's fun and it's cool to do, but you need quite a lot of pieces to make this work. Ignatius, again, another person who can solo a nightmare campaign. Great for Spider as well. Good in the arena. Hits hard for a defensive champion. Pretty slow, but he's got HP burns, AoE. Can't be resisted, which means you don't need the accuracy, which means you can build him very differently. Very cool champion. Mossbeard, recently buffed. The buff's actually done quite a lot of good for him. I run him in my Spider team for like a speed team, but he now brings increased damage for your team because of this A3. He brings block buffs for the on the enemy team, which is actually quite good. He brings a cleanse and a shield for someone on your team, and he's got continuous heals here. It's now like a mid-tier legendary, I'd say. It's actually not as bad as it used to be. Pretty good. Shamrock, I don't see him used a lot. He brings a lot of buffs. Brings decreased speed on an AoE, which is good. Also fills your turn meter if you're low on turn meter. He's a bit like if this happens, then this happens. Good base stats, though. Really high base speed. I'm surprised we don't see him played a bit more. He's like a half-decent legendary, I'd say. Drockle, he's like bang average. I tried him a bunch of times with different setups. I can't really get him to be effective to really get the most out of this shield ability. If the shield's broken, then your guy's counterattack. It's a nice to have, not a good one. I can't find really a use for this guy. This ability here, increase attack and defense at the same time, is nice. But the other part of it is kind of weak. Yeah, kind of weak. I'd say needs another buff. Gergo, really, really strong arena champion. Good base stats now. They've improved him. AoE freeze, 100% if you book him, is strong. Also removes 2 buffs at the same time. Really strong ability. And then he can nuke as well. Mainly in for a control champion, but can hit really hard. Okay, let's keep it moving. So on to Lizardmen. Lizardmen here, there's not many here, but they are strong. The legendaries are really strong in this faction, and you need them for faction wars. The epics are pretty trash. So Draco, one of the best in the game. One of the best. AoE decrease defense and weaken on his A3. 3-turn cooldown if you book it. He actually doesn't need that many books either compared to most. 4-hitter on his A2 with poisons dropping on each hit. This is really good. Really strong for Dragon. Really strong for Clan Boss. He's generally strong like anywhere in the game. There's not really a spot where he's not good. I'd say his weakest spot is Arena, and he's still good there. He's got this A1, which used to be much stronger. It's not anymore. It used to be able to crit on his surplus damage, which would crit for crazy numbers. Now it just does like a normal hit, but can still hit hard. He's still in my unkillable team for Clan Boss. I still use him in my Spider team. I still use him in my Dragon team, which I think, considering the champs I've got, shows how strong this guy is. Fushan, really solid champion. Underrated. AoE stun, bit like Seal. 4-hitter here with decreased defense. So I used to run him as my Fire Knight lead. He's got a lead skill, which is speed in all battles. He does a ton of damage. High attack, high speed, good stats. Does a ton of damage. He's great for faction wars at stunning waves. Yeah, really underrated champ. Razin, the fusible champion. solid champion like anywhere in the game. It's a shame he doesn't do a bit more AoE, but he's got single target, decreased defense and weaken. Great spider tank, great for clan boss. Solid in Fire Knight as well, and good for faction wars. Okay, Skull Lord, only really good for faction wars, but damn, he's good there. He's also actually a really good arena defensive champion because he is the positive affinity for all of the kind of magic teams. So very strong champion there. Brings a single provoke, which is nothing really. AoE decrease attack, not much. Massive base stats everywhere. Really strong base stats. So because of that, he's actually pretty good. Verdumkar. I actually quite like this guy. I recently fused him. Does a lot of work. He's mid-tier. No better than mid-tier, but he does have some good stuff here. He's got stun chance, which can be high. He's got a kind of remove provoke ability. I think he's going to be mainly strong in Doom Tower, but can be good against some of the arena teams that you face anyway. Very niche. You need to fit him in the team where it works. He's not for everything. Krisk, amazing legendary. Pretty much can play him anywhere in the game. If you get this guy early, you've won the game until you get to like stage 20 stuff. Massive base stats, still used in a lot of arena defenses. Can be used in speed, clan boss teams. Can be used to just grind your way through any dungeon. Any like mid to late level team would have him in. Okay, let's keep it moving then. Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers, not many here either. Norog, underrated champion. I love her. I love her. I love him. I love it. Looks sick as well. Like such a cool design on this champion. Never gets enough love, Norog. So he's got block cooldown skills A1. Solid A1. Block buffs A2 AoE. If you get him going before, he's got good base speed as well. Get him going before the arena team that you're up against, and he will put block buffs on everyone, which stops your Duchess, your Seafies, all of these people that just throw tons of buffs out there and stop you being able to play. He can interrupt that. He also can't be frozen, can't be stunned, can't be sleeped, and he reduces some of the damage your team take. He is pretty awesome for Ice Golem because of this ability here, block buffs on the second wave, and because of this passive. So he basically, if your team don't have buffs, he'll reduce the damage you take by 25%. It's huge. So when that big slam comes in from Ice Golem, he actually can keep your team alive. He also hits hard. He's great for clan boss as well as a lead because he can't be stunned. Yeah, really underrated champ. Longbeard. Longbeard was my favourite ally attack champion until Kreela came along. He's got an ally attack ability which increases your damage by 20%, which means that everyone's just going to nuke that bit harder. This is still really cool. It's got a weaken as well. Can be played in clan boss. Pretty good for something like Fire Knights if you're trying to get more hits in with the ally attack. Pretty good base stats, a little bit low on defense. But he's slow compared to most of the ally attackers. So just something to be aware of. Smash Lord, reasonable champion. Good for Dragon, good for Spider, good for Faction Wars. He's got a cleanse ability here for your team. He's got a big hit on his A3, which is an AoE hit, which is pretty cool as well. Mid-tier champion. War Chief, looks cool. That's about it. Needs a buff. Trash legendary, really. Single target provoke, just trash. Need to work. Good base stats, just needs some stuff done into his kit. It's just rubbish right now. Brachus, good arena champion, good nuker. If he goes down, he gets back up and slams someone. Can hit really hard. Low base defense though. Good for Fire Knights. Pretty good for Faction Wars as well because of his self-revive. Yeah, reasonably cool. I mean, awesome looking champion. Let's give him that. Let's give him that at least. Coronar, mid-tier legendary. Recently nerfed. The nerf didn't do a huge amount. One of the best turn meter controllers in the game with his A1. Especially if you pair him with Manaya. He's got AoE, decrease attack and defense, which is actually a massive ability. 4-turn cooldown. Really strong champ. Okay. Let's keep going. Orcs. Orcs. Growhack. The trash. Growhack. Need a new master. I got slashed up. Growhack. Where's my abilities that I care about? He's just weak. decreased speed, single target, or 2 hits, sorry. AoE fills this champion's turn meter by 20% if they're under a if they're under a decreased speed. Just let him do it. Just attacks all enemies, fills your whole team's turn meter by 20%, and then maybe he's playable. At the moment, this is so situational, it's weak. Attacks one enemy, steals turn meter, weak. The only place he's really good is in faction wars on boss fights. That's it. Everything else, terrible. And his aura isn't even faction wars. I don't get this guy. I guess you could use him for Spider for this ability, but that's all you'd be using it for. Yeah, just weak. Kreela, awesome champion. I love this champion. She's my favorite ally attack champion. She puts increased attack and increased crit rate on your team. She's great for clan boss, great for arena. She lets herself down a bit on Spider because her ally attack is random. So she attacks a random target. So often that'll be a Spiderling, nearly all the time. You do have to book her though, which is a shame. If you don't book her, then she will miss a percentage of the time. Crazy base stats. She hits like a truck as well. Really good champ. Teela needs a buff. Terrible champion. You are sad if you pull a Teela. She does have an AoE leech. That's as good as it gets. Needs a buff. Robar kind of needs a buff. All he really needs he needs a buff on 2 things. He needs more base speed. Like 87. What is he, a common? Is he a common, guys? 87 base speed. It's terrible. And under 700 defense is shocking as well. He hits pretty hard. He's got an AoE decreased defense, which is cool. And he's got more damage if people are stunned. And he throws out stuns. So that his kit is solid, but his base stats let him down, which means he's fairly unplayable. Warlord, insane. Insane arena champion, insane Spider. Great for clan boss as well. Great for pretty much anywhere in the game. But his biggest strength is the arena. He's solid for faction wars as well. Angar, good champion. Great for the arena. Good for controlling waves. AoE provoke. And then a chance to get provoke on them again when he takes a hit. Yeah, and he hits pretty hard as well for an HP champion. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Demonspawn. Sorry, it's a bit of a long one, guys, but it is what it is. Kaimar, awesome champion. One of the best speed auras in the game for arena. Can be in speed running for dungeons. Can be in control teams for arena. Can be in speed teams for the arena. Resets abilities on his A3. Really unique ability here. Great base stats as well. Cleanses all buffs from enemies and puts a sleep on them. Everything about his kit is actually insanely good. Really good champion. Not talked about enough. Tyrant, one of the best spider killers in the game. AoE HP burn. Ally protection and increased defense as well. Good for clan boss. Good for spider. Good for faction wars. Generally solid champ. Also, if there's an HP burn out, your team take less damage, which is pretty cool. Straight less damage. Like not depends on defense, depends on this. It's just straight less damage. Drexar, attainable eventually through the Bazaar. It's taken a while. 100 things you need. But if you don't have a Spiderling tank, really good one. One of the best. One of the best Spiderling tanks out there because of his passive. So basically when he gets hit, there's a chance that he's going to put a burnout. For every... don't know what is this. This champion's resistance increases for every HP burn out there, which also makes him very good as a Spiderling tank. He's got AoE provoke as well to make this passive kick in. And he's pretty good for clan boss as well. Triple hitter, which means you can get a lot of damage out of Giant Slayer. Good base stats. Good champion. Kandrathon, recently buffed and now well worth his weight in salt. He is Mr. Salty from the deep. Mr. One Shot. He can AoE down a wave, no problem. Really fun champion. Looks cool as well. He's also got this passive now, which is one of the things that changed about him, that his damage increases when he's under a veil, and he receives 40% less damage when he's under a veil. Pair him with a Duchess, and he like nukes everyone. Cool champ. Mortu, been buffed about 20 times, needs about 20 more buffs. I don't get this guy. Doesn't do a lot. All you're worried about is trying to unlock Peril, and Peril is hard to unlock unless you're facing him in Nightmare Campaign, by the way, where it unlocks every single turn he has. So this guy, high base HP, terrible base other stats, needs buff. Lord Shazar, part of that bomb meta, best speed aura in the game. So that's one thing going for him. And throwing out the bombs, if you can detonate these bombs quickly, he's actually quite good against the current like tanky meta. But you as soon as they've got block debuffs on them, he can't go. So you've got to get him moving fast. You've got to get him blowing stuff up early. Duchess, one of the best defensive-based champions in the game. It feels like there's not that many trash legendaries anymore, by the way. When I did this last time, I felt that was a lot. We've got block debuffs, increase attack, perfect veil. She revives all the team. She's got shields on her A1. Really, really solid champion. Great for arena defense. Can be run in clan boss. Can be run in any dungeon, really. Great for spider. Great for faction wars. One of the best for faction wars. Awesome champ. Kutraxa, hard hitter. A little bit out of the meta right now, but can smack her way through Fire Knights. Smack her way through Ice Golem. Good in the arena as well, but she doesn't block any revives. Single target, which means that she might kill a couple. Probably that's enough for most teams, but it might not be. And he looks wicked. He looks super cool. I've got him. He doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as a lot of the kind of meta nukers. He does have an AoE ability. He does have block revive on every skill, but he's got low base defense, and his base attacks kind of hide in the fact that his multipliers are not that strong. Needs a bit of a buff, I think. Right, let's move on to undeads. Loads of undeads. Tons of them. Crypt King needs a buff. Enough said. Rotus the Lost Groom was recently nerfed. Now he's average instead of like insane. Still got really hard hits, so he can still take down people one shots. Because his block revive basically doesn't work anymore. They've killed his place in the meta. I think they did too much to his block revive. I think they did too much to his A3 actually. So he is out of the meta. He can still one-shot two people if he's geared properly, but much harder to keep it going. And unless he's one-shot in the revivers, then his place in the arena is kind of gone. I still run him in Ice Golem, still strong there. But yeah, lost a lot of his pizzazz. Sato, awesome champion. Looks cool as well. AoE, nukage, loads of single target nukage as well. Good pretty much anywhere in the game, actually. Good in clan boss, good in the arena, and good dungeon kind of nuker as well. Passive here, which ignores defense the more hits he gets, which is good for boss fights. Yeah, fun champ. Elegaeus recently released. Kind of like a bit of a poor man's Madame, I'd say. I guess, you know what? Madame, Cethalia, Elegaeus all do the same job slightly differently. So they all have got a chance to remove buffs. He only removes 2 instead of all of them. If this was remove all buffs, it'd be way better. Way more usability in the game. But he drops turn meter. So does a similar thing to what Cethalia is doing on his A1. And if he doesn't go first, he'll take a big hit but can't die. And then has got a chance to actually do a bit more work from this, a bit more turn meter drop. But it's all a bit like if this, if that. Okay champion, not crazy. Scartorsis, all AoE abilities. No, sorry, he's got an AoE ability but can still buffs. Increase attack, crit rate. Cleanse for your whole team, which fills turn meter. He's a bit out of the meta. His base stats are insanely high, by the way. If you pull him, he will take you through all dungeons, no problem. Speed in all dungeons as well. I got him quite early, and he was like a massive pull for me. The later you get into the game, the less he is relevant compared to other legendaries, I'd say. Bad L. Passive that increases your damage by 20% is huge. He's a bit like a martyr. Amazing everywhere in the game, but not the best anywhere in the game. I still run him in my spider team. I'm running him in my clan boss team right now because of his cleanse. He cleanses on a 3-turn cooldown if you book him, which means that you can speed tune him to cleanse the stun every time. He also puts poisons out and makes your clan boss team hit 20% harder, which is actually a ton of damage if you're building a team to hit hard. So, fun champion, still awesome in the game. but not like the best like he used to be. Blood Gorged, since his buff, he's actually pretty solid. AoE put steals on cooldown, but he puts one steal on cooldown instead of all of them. The Warlord does all steals on cooldown. Very slow though. If his speed was higher, he'd be cool. He does have a block revive ability with this, and it ignores defense as well, so he can one-shot the revive tank, like the Duchess. One shot, bam, done. He can one-shot, but his affinity doesn't work against a Duchess. It does work against a Siphi, so you have to kind of choose your target, I guess. If you get a weak hit with this, you're crying in your milk all day. But the chance of you getting him to go first is hard. Like, he's so slow. So if they boosted his base speed, he would be way more usable in the meta. Mashold, awesome legendary, top 10. Increased speed, increased crit damage, and throws out True Fears and Leeches. Good for clan boss, good for the arena, good for all dungeons, good for faction wars. That's everywhere in the game, guys. He is brilliant champion. Great champion. Nephril, another great champion, like usable pretty much anywhere. I don't favour him in clan boss versus Frozen Banshee or someone like that for poison, because his other abilities get priority. I prefer him in Spider, Fire Knight, Arena, and in all of those places he's top tier. Suzerain kind of hits quite hard. Niche champion. So basically, he's got a buff removal that can't be resisted, so you don't need accuracy to do it. So if you're going against like Siphi teams, Chris teams, he can strip all of that and then he hits, which means it actually for the arena meta, again, pretty strong against defensive arena teams. Also has got an AoE weaken and decrease defense, but it's kind of like random whether it gets placed or not. AoE decrease speed. He's actually a good champion. He's underused, underrated, I'd say. Harvest Jack, major control champion. Hits okay, but not that hard. Loads of HP. Pretty low base defense, so pretty good base speed. You just got to get him moving. Once he gets moving, throws out the fears, you pretty much lock out everything the team does. Fun champ. Siphi, still top 2, top 3 legendary in the game. Still insane for the arena. Good anywhere. Good anywhere in the game. Brilliant champ. Little Miss Annie, the best looking champion in the game now for me. Absolutely sweet looking champion. I played around with her last night on my stream, actually. For me, she's only an arena champion. That's it. Just arena. But in the arena, she's cool. If you play her with other revive champions that are defensive, that can stay alive, and let her be your only damage dealer, then I think she would be awesome. But don't play her against like block revive champions like a Foley, because she'll sit down and she's not getting up again. Really low base defense. She hits hard, and she's got some really cool abilities in terms of like increased ignoring defense and basically attacking a couple of times against shields and stuff like that. She's cool. Cool champ. Okay, moving on then. We've got 3 to go. Dark Elves. Ray. Brilliant champion. Strips all buffs and freezes on an A3. 70% chance to do it. 100% chance to strip all buffs. 70% chance to freeze. Absolute nuke on her A2. And then she's got a drop defense chance on her A1. Good champion anywhere. Probably best in the arena. Great for faction wars. She's got a speed lead in dungeons as well. So, you know, pretty solid for... I used to run in my Ice Golem team as my lead, and my Dragon team. She's pretty good for that. Generally will hit hard. Like, she hits really hard. Lanakis, ally attacker. She's got a tendency to place her increased attack and crit rate before she does ally attack. Need to bear that in mind. She does get a chance of getting an extra turn. There's a few things about her kit which let her down. So the chance to get an extra turn means that you can't run her in Speedtune's clan boss teams properly. Certainly not in unkillable teams, because she can throw stuff out. And her ally attack does a turn meter fill as well. So you have to be careful that you don't freeze your team against like someone like a Tormund. But that's actually a good ability. All in all, she's a great champion. Underplayed, I'd say. Kreela overshadows her a little bit now. But a turn meter fill plus ally attack is insanely good. She's great for like a blender team, for the arena. And she's generally good. Like, she's good for Fire Knights. She's good for dungeon clearing if you've got AoE hitters. Foley, second best arena champion for damage in the game for me, behind Trunder. He's got block revive as well. There's not that many that do it, that hit hard enough to do it. So he can sit a whole team down. If he doesn't sit a whole team down, he's going to sit down at least 2 or 3 if you build him right. But he does need increased attack, and he does need decreased defense on the enemy to really get his damage off. So he's a bit situational to get him to work, but when he's working, he is insane and he looks sweet. He's also got this passive that immediately removes a stun, a sleep, a freeze, and he gains turn meter from it. So that's a very cool passive as well. Xavier, kind of queen of the speed run, blows up poisons. That's her main signature move. Pair her with like a Taurus or a Tomb Lord, or I don't know, anyone who throws out a ton of poison, Rish off the Bold, and she will just blow that poison up. I don't have her yet. Really fun champ. Good for Fire Knights, good for Dragon if you want to do stuff quick. Not that great for Clan Boss because she blows up those poisons. And the blowing up the poisons, guys, you're hearing it here first, or for the 100th time, does not blow up poisons if she pairs with Vizier. Yeah, it still blows up 1 stack of poison. They nerfed it. So Vizier, he's one of the best, probably the second best Clan Boss champion in the game. A1 that just extends debuffs all day long. So if you pair him with someone like decreased defense and poisoners, he'll just extend those up all the way. Which means that you can play completely different teams in Clan Boss than what you'd normally play. He does have a Veil as well, which keeps him alive. He's got pretty good base stats. He's got a passive that will place a Veil at the start of each round. He's good for Fire Knights as well, actually. He's got heal reduction, which is nice for Fire Knights. Decreased attack as well. And he's also got like a niche ability on Spider that if you pair him with someone who does a single target HP burn, he can spread that HP burn to all of the targets. So if you're struggling on Spider, he could be your answer paired with someone like a Bulwark, which is unusual but very cool, actually. So if you do him that way, you might end up making him a Spiderling tank because he's the wrong affinity if you're on 20, and use everybody else to keep him alive. But yeah, kind of niche but very cool elsewhere. But for Clan Boss, one of the best. Astrolith just needs a buff. Bomb meta is weak. She's got just a kind of weird kit. I've got about 10 of these. I might end up doing like a four-person team. She does bring in a speed aura for Arena, which if you don't have one is good. And she's got some kind of weird HP change kit, which sometimes can just be awesome, but most of the time it's bad. Queen Eva, more like an epic than a legendary. She's only really good for campaign farm. Everything else, average. Needs a buff. Ghostborn can't resist. Mr. Irresistible can't resist his decreased defense, and he puts increased attack at the same time. Awesome debuff, this one. So you can play him with no accuracy. He's got good base stats. I actually used to run him in my Fire Knight team because he also brings a heal reduction. But yeah, generally good for a debuffer, good for the arena. Cool champ. Blind Seer, brilliant since the buff, actually. Good shields now, block debuffs, good revive ability, one of the best. Huge base stats, huge base speed. Yeah, really solid. For Faction Wars, one of the best for this faction. Lydia, only attainable through Faction Wars. Pretty wicked champion, but not broken. Visix needs a buff. Did a guide on her recently. Just bang average champion. Like nowhere near as good as a lot of epics. Okay, moving on. We've got 2 to go. Night Revenants. Nama did a guide on her recently. She's kind of like a enhanced Frozen Banshee. But if you run an unkillable team, she's not better than Frozen Banshee. If you don't run an unkillable team, she's way better than Frozen Banshee. Because she's got the chance to extend debuffs. She's got a decreased attack, which you can book to 3 turns. So she could be your decreased attacker. And she's got a bit of a heal, but she's nearly insane, but not quite. Bysthophus needs a buff. His damage is average. His base stats are average. The setup you need to make him do his damage is only achievable through one champion in the game to get this off, and that's Lugan, which is just bonkers. So it means he's got to set himself up, which means he needs 2 turns to win the game. By that time, he's dead, wishing that Lugan was his friend. Looks funky. I like his look. Still needs another buff. Tomb Lord, underrated, overshadowed by Stag Knight. He's got AoE decreased defense and weak and attack. 5-turn cooldown if you book it. If they made this 4-turn, he is in the meta and awesome. Because it's 5, it's a bit slow. It also, though, drops turn meter. He's MVP for this faction, for Faction Wars. Poisons on an AoE basis as well on this. And a decreased speed. Great for Fire Knights, actually. Really good for Fire Knights. Because he drops turn meter if the Fire Knight's less than half health. And he brings decreased speed and a triple hit. Really good for Fire Knights. But yeah, just needs this ability to be 1 turn less for him to be in meta. Soulless, bit outside the meta. Average champion, really. Provokes, AoE abilities. In fact, you know what? He hits hard. He does hit hard. And defensive champion. He just needs more speed. Like 87 is in the same camp as Robar. Like, what is he, a common? Give him another 10 speed. Make him relevant. Hegemon, totally unique champion. Goes first every time unless he's playing Hegemon. He can do a smack of damage. You can play him as a stun Hegi and block out the other team. Crazy for Arena. He's also actually pretty good for like dungeon content if you put him in a stun set. Pretty good for Faction Wars as well. So underrated everywhere else in the game, but insane for Arena. Frost King, he has the best buff in the game, which is Strengthen. This ability here, Strengthen and Increased Defense, is actually solid. But the rest of his kit's a bit underwhelming, and his damage is a bit underwhelming. Okay, moving on then to the last faction, which is the Dwarves. Not many here. Trunda, the best arena nuker in the game. She's also great for Spider if you're struggling to get your Spider done, because she can place HP burn if you put accuracy on her. But if you want her for the arena, you take the accuracy out and you just make her a nuke machine. She hits harder than anyone. She's got an A2 as well, which hits pretty damn hard. Yeah, she's just bonkers. Bonkers champion. Probably needs a bit of a nerf. Mountain King, still someone I'm looking for. Wicked looking design. I love this guy. Smacks hard and ignores defense, ignores shields, doesn't care who's up against, smacks them with a one-shot. You can build him to have really high resistance and a load of damage. His damage comes through HP and attack, which is quite unique, but mainly through HP. Yeah, really fun champ. But again, I mean, this is 85. He kind of needs to be slow because if not, he would be a menace. But 85? Damn, that's slow. Morley, good control champion. I feel like she normally stands with a sausage out. I guess that changed a while ago when they changed the Dwarves. She's got AoE Provoke. If you provoke a team for 2 turns, then they've lost the game in the arena. 107 base speed, massive base defense, good base HP. She's a great, great tank. But she hits like, you know, like a weak sauce, flappy fish. I don't know what she hits like. She hits weak, which means that she can't really do a lot of damage. She's literally just in there for control. There's no point trying to make her do damage. This never does. And she's also got a revive. She's great as a defensive arena champion. She's great for spiders if you want her to just provoke the spiderlings, because she is the but she is the weak affinity, which means that she can take a lot of damage from that. She does give your team more turn meter as well when she has a go, then gets hit, which is quite cool. And then Tormund the Cold, still cool in the arena, still freezes everything up. Only really an arena champion for me. Does a bit of work in Spider if you want him to. Does a bit of work in Faction Wars if you want him to, but mainly arena champion. AoE Provoke, AoE freezes. Freezes when everyone moves. Freezes whenever he feels like it. So guys, that's a long one, but that is all Legendaries rated. Hope you have luck pulling on these shard pools today. Tomorrow if you're going to. I've been Hell Hades. I'm going for a nap. I'll see you later.